On today's show, we are talking about boosting self-confidence. And this is one of those topics that can really help you take your business and your life to that next level, because a lot of times when we are feeling like we're lacking confidence, there are simple strategies that we need to apply to kind of boost that confidence. And, sometimes we can feel stuck. We can feel like we just don't have the right skills, or we don't have the right qualities or talents. But in actuality, a lot of times it really does come down to just making some small changes to increase our confidence, to feel better about ourselves and the things that we are naturally good at. A lot of times we spend time focusing on the things that we're not so great at, and that can help us feel even less confident. So on today's show, I'm going to share with you some effective techniques for boosting your self-confidence and really gaining that total belief in yourself. If you're someone who is shy, I'm going to share with you some ways that you can learn to become a little more charismatic. And nothing wrong with being shy, but I know that when you feel like you're a shy person, sometimes that can hinder that level of confidence that you want to have. So I'm going to share some ways that you can become a little bit more charismatic and kind of reduce some of that shyness. Also, if you are someone who feels like fear is holding you back, I'm going to share some ways that you can overcome fear and really step out of the fear that you're experiencing, kind of work through that so that you can be your best self every single day. Now, before I jump into all of today's great information, I want to share with you a couple of ways that you can connect with me and stay in touch with Infinite Success Radio. So first and foremost, you can connect with me over on social media. That's a great place to find inspiration, success tips, strategies, and kind of keep up with all the different things that I'm doing throughout the world. So you can find me over there on Twitter at Factors for Success. That's Factors, the number 4, Success. Or over on Facebook at facebook.com/connect with Rachel. Now, to stay connected with Infinite Success Radio, you can actually find us on iTunes and on Stitcher. That's a great resource to subscribe to so that you never miss an episode. But if you want show notes, if you want a great resource to check back on different shows that we've had throughout the last few years, and if you want to see some of the different tips and strategies kind of in a show note format, you can find those over on my website, connectwithrachel.com, connectwithrachel.com. And we have been updating those show notes, so do check back for those in the future as well. It's just a really great resource and a great way to find relevant information from each show every single week. Okay, so let's jump into today's topic, boosting self-confidence. So I have a question for you. If you could be the most confident version of yourself, what would that look like? What would you do? How would you act? What kind of job would you have? Who would your friends be? A lot of times we settle in our lives because we feel like we're not confident enough, not good enough, not worthy enough, not deserving enough to really go after our dreams, right? A lot of times we feel like we're just never going to make those dreams come true. But if you were confident, like the most confident version of yourself, would your life be different? And if so, how would it be different? Many years ago, my life was so different than it is today, and I used to really lack confidence and self-esteem. In fact, I felt so badly about myself that there was a period of time for several years that I was extremely overweight. I really hated who I had become in life. It's not that I was a bad person. I was a great person, and I was a good mom, and I was a good friend, and I was a good wife. But on the inside, I didn't like who I was. I didn't like that I wasn't living my life with purpose or passion. I didn't like that I was failing time and time again. I didn't like that I was not pursuing my goals and my dreams. I had basically reached a point in life where I just felt so bad about myself that I really believed that my dreams were impossible. And back then, I had dreams of writing a book and traveling the world, and I had dreams of having a big house in a great neighborhood. I had dreams of my little kids being big kids and having all these opportunities that I never had growing up. because, growing up, we didn't have a lot of opportunities, didn't have a lot of money, didn't have a lot of support or encouragement. And so back then, when I was really struggling and when I was really lacking confidence and self-esteem, I really felt like it was almost impossible to go from where I was then to where I wanted to be. And that journey seemed so far and so far off in the distant, right? I felt like back then, in order to get to where I wanted to be, it would take so long. And so it just felt so impossible. But here's what I found. What I found is that not only was it possible, but through a set of specific strategies, I could go from where I was to where I wanted to be. And that's exactly what I ended up doing. That's what I did. I literally completely transformed my life and my business. And I went from struggling and having no confidence and very little self-esteem. I went from truly hating myself, looking in the mirror every single day thinking, man, I don't like this. I don't like me. I don't like my life. I literally felt like that every single day. And I went from that to completely changing everything about my life, traveling the world, dropping 90 pounds and keeping it off, right? Being healthy, being fit, being able to run around with my kids. Things that were only wishes and dreams became my life, became my reality. I started living on purpose every single day. I built a business where I could help other people. I could make an impact in the world. And none of that would have been possible had I not started to build and boost my self-confidence and my self-esteem. And so I share that story with you today because I know a lot of you are listening and you're loyal fans and listeners to the show, and you may already know a little bit about me, but a lot of you are brand new. And a lot of you might listen to the show and think, well, gosh, Rachel, it must have been really easy for you, or gosh, Rachel, you've been able to do all these things, but that's great, but I can't do that. And I'm here to tell you today that if I can do it, anyone can. And I want to share with you exactly how I started to boost my confidence and self-esteem, and how I went from that person that was struggling and failing and feeling so bad about myself and became the person that I am today. It was a journey, and it did take a little bit of time, right? It didn't happen overnight. It took some time. But because I implemented specific strategies that work, I was able to go from that insecure person, from that person who could never step up in front of a group of people without feeling so scared and terrified and without turning pink. And right, when I would think about stepping up in front of people, man, it just freaked me out. But I turned myself around from that person to now the person that can step up on stage in front of hundreds of people, to now the person that can do television interviews and radio interviews and, all these different things that I literally thought was impossible, I now can do with confidence and with that sense of knowing that it doesn't matter if somebody judges or criticizes or doesn't like what I say or doesn't like my clothes or, none of that stuff matters. What matters is the message that I'm bringing to the table. So how did I get to that point? How did I start to boost my confidence? That's exactly what we're going to talk about today, and really how you can apply these strategies to your life. So one of the first things that I teach my coaching clients to do when they're wanting to boost their confidence is to identify the areas where they feel that they're lacking confidence. So a lot of times we're not lacking confidence in all areas of our life. We're lacking confidence in certain areas within ourselves. So maybe it's with public speaking. Maybe it's with writing. Maybe it's with your artwork. Maybe it's with talking to new people. Maybe you're someone who feels very confident around your friends and family and people at work that you know, but if you have to meet new people, maybe that's an area where you're lacking some confidence, for example. So it's really good to kind of take that first step of understanding the specific areas where you're lacking confidence. One of my clients was lacking confidence with her image. She felt very insecure about the overall look and image that she was bringing to the workplace. And so when she would go for job interviews and things of that nature, she felt very uncomfortable because she wasn't confident with her image. So even though she knew she was qualified and she had, great talents that she was bringing to the table, because she felt that lack of confidence with her image, that was actually holding her back. It was making her feel nervous and making her feel like she wasn't as powerful as she knew that she could be because of her image. So kind of think about that in terms of your own life. What areas do you feel like you're lacking that confidence? And again, that first step is just to kind of get clear about what that looks like so that you can start making some small changes to make improvements. Another one of my clients, she had a fear and kind of an area in life where she lacked confidence in going out by herself. So I kind of said a fear. It's not that she was afraid of being alone, but it was more of like she felt insecure when she would go out by herself. So instead of going out and doing things alone, she always wanted to bring someone with her. So she wouldn't go out to dinner by herself. She wouldn't go shopping by herself. She just really didn't like doing things by herself. She didn't have the confidence to feel like she was strong and powerful as she was. And so one of the things that we worked on together was how she could kind of make some small changes, take some little steps along the way, so that she could make some adjustments and be able to go out and do things on her own and feel good about it. And, within just a few short weeks, she actually was able to do that. She went out to dinner by herself and she didn't feel weird. She didn't feel strange. So she had kind of overcome some of those blocks. So how do we do this? Again, identify what those areas are where you're lacking that confidence. And then after you've kind of identified that area, you want to address your mindset. So you want to really look at how your mindset plays a role in that specific area where you're lacking confidence. With regards to mindset, you really want to ask yourself, what are your thoughts and beliefs about who you are, your potential, and about the areas where you're lacking confidence? What do you think and believe about yourself? Do you think that you are worthy? Do you believe that you are worthy of the success that you desire? Or do you think and believe that you're not good enough? Do you think and believe that people always criticize you or that you're always going to fail? So you really want to take a look at what your thoughts and beliefs are about yourself and about the areas where you're lacking confidence. Then you want to identify negative thoughts and limiting beliefs. You have to be very clear about what's going on in your mind. So in order to really become the best version of yourself and live your best life, it really starts with identifying those negative thoughts and limiting beliefs. So for example, if you grew up in a situation where, your family didn't have a lot of money, let's say, which is kind of how I grew up, it might be that in your mind, you believe that you don't deserve to have financial freedom. It might be that in your mind, you think that you deserve to always struggle. Who knows? It's different for each person, but that's why you want to take that step back and identify those negative thoughts and limiting beliefs. So for example, one negative thought might be, I don't deserve to be happy, or I don't deserve to have wealth, or I don't deserve a big house. Like that could be a negative thought that might run through your mind. A limiting belief might be, I believe that I'm going to be stuck in poverty the rest of my life. Or I believe that there's no way out. That could be a limiting belief. So I'm just giving you a couple of examples of what you might think or what you might be believing about yourself. It could even be something like believing that, I don't deserve to be happy. I don't deserve good relationships. I don't deserve to feel love. Some of these things, it's not necessarily that we consciously think it on a daily basis, but if these are beliefs that we're holding on to deep within ourselves, then that is going to affect our everyday lives. And that's going to affect the level of success that we achieve in life and in business and even in our relationships.